It's Monday and I'm genuinely annoyed because I've lost the remote control for my audio system. But that's completely irrelevant because now it's time for the unofficial British Artists Top 20. Yeah, so like I was saying, I now actually have to stand up and adjust the volume, or if I want to change from tape to CD. Yes, I still have tapes and CD. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, anyway, that's what I have to stand up and press button. Oh, one more. I'm on live. Sorry. I'll catch you later. Bye. Anyway, hello, welcome to the Unofficial British Artists Top 20. Later in the show, I'll be doing the news. I'll be talking about how Record Store Day has impacted on both the official singles chart and official album chart, and doing an album review of Gresley's new record, Songs I Wrote Since She Left. But first, here is the Top 20. This week we have 6 songs going up, 4 songs going down, 1 new entry and 9 non-movers. Number 20, non-mover from last week, Ewan McVicker, Share the House. New entry for Charlie XCX at number 19 with Party For You. At number 18, Central C is down 4 with Wagwan. At number 17, Sienna Spyro is down 1 with Die On This Hill. Up 2 places to number 16 is Fleetwood Mac and Dreams. At number 15, it's Harry Styles with Ready Steady Go, down 5. Bebe Rexha and Faithless are up 3 to number 14 with New Religion. Fleetwood Mac are up 2 places to number 13 with Landslide. We have a non-mover at number 12 with Olivia Dean's Nice to Each Other, and a non-mover at number 11 with Harry Styles' Sign of the Times. Here's your top 10. At number 10 is Prosper and Clooney, Free Your Mind, that's gone up 3 places. At number 9, Ray has gone down 5 with Click Clack Symphony. It's a non-mover at number 8 for Sienna Spyro with The Visitor, and a non-mover at number 7 for Pink Panthers with Stateside. With a non-mover at number 6, Dave and Thames with Rain Dance, and Olivia Dean's So Easy to Fall in Love is up 4 places to this week's number 5. Ray is up 1 to number 4 with Where Is My Husband. We have a non-mover at number 3 with Harry Styles and American Girls, a non-mover at number 2 for Olivia Dean with Man I Need, and Sam Fender and Olivia Dean's Rein Me In is still at the top of the charts. I'm going to do my best not to use the phrase, what a boring chart, oh look I just failed, but I kind of preempted it at the beginning with the phrase there are 9 non-movers. So 9 of the songs in the British Artists Top 20 are in exactly the same place as they were last week, but actually all of the songs have dropped their places in the official Top 40. And I'm struggling to kind of get my head around it because last week we had some really good albums released, as well as Chronicle by Zayn. And, you know, I can't understand why some of the songs from that haven't ended up in the top 40. So we had the official top 40 and therefore my chart, which obviously it's just based on that. I mean, we had Skindred, which is a Welsh rock band, release an album last week. I don't think that even made it to my news page last week. Sorry, Skindred. Didn't even, mention that. But that got to number 1 in the album chart. And on top of that, in quick succession, you've got right behind that, you've got Super Bloom by Jessie Ware, Chronicle by Zayn. So 3 albums in the top 4 are new albums by British artists that have got to the top of the album chart, but obviously haven't done well enough to get any of the songs into the singles chart. Unlike when somebody such as Harry Styles drops an album, when you can guarantee there will be 3 songs in the chart. Even Ray. And I was very disappointed with how well Click Clack Symphony has done. Personally, I think it should have gone straight to number 1 in every chart in the world, but it didn't. But even that, when she released her album, and she is my favourite artist at the moment, I think. But on a global scale, she's not as big as Harry Styles. And I didn't think she was as big as Zayn Malik either, but clearly she is, because she did manage to get 3 songs into the top 40 that week, or the top 100, or however we're measuring it. And Zayn hasn't got one. So that's the problem. For some reason, these albums by credible artists, I know I've been a bit cruel about Zayn, actually. I hope he's okay. I know he's still in hospital and hasn't been able to promote the album. And there's some speculation about heart problems. He's talked about having one of the world's top, heart specialist looking at him, so I genuinely hope he's okay. But I just don't understand why these, as I say, good albums by good artists are not generating songs that are getting into the singles chart, and we're just getting the same old stuff over and over again. So yeah, just quickly looking back through the top 20 this week, the British Artist Top 20, it is just dull. With the exception of a new entry, which is Charlie XCX's Party for You, there's nothing new in there. And even that, it's only a new entry because this chart has only existed for 13 weeks. Party for You is not a new song, and in fact is only in the top 20 because she released a limited edition vinyl to sell on Record Store Day. So the sales of that vinyl have pushed this song into the chart, into my number 19. I don't think it's actually in the official top 40. Let me have a look. Hoofing this, yeah, so it's only got to number 60 in the official chart, but because there's so little British material doing well in my chart, it just hasn't, it's got there, when really something at number 60 some weeks wouldn't even have made it into my top 20. That's about all I can really say on about that. Let's talk about British artist penetration into the official chart. So, how many songs in the official top 10 are by British artists? Last week it was only 3. Has it gone up or down this week? Yeah, it's gone down. One song in the official top 10 is by British artists. Excuse my language, but that is shockingly shit. 10%. You then go on to the official top 20. Only 3 out of the top 20 songs, the official top 20 songs, are by British artists. That's down 10% on last week. And I've even got my lowest ever figure since I've been doing this for the top 40. So only 12 of the songs in the official top 40 are by British artists. That's 30%. Again, that is the lowest figure I've had since I've been compiling this chart. Now, my number 20 is actually number 67 on the official top 100. So there are only 20 songs in the official top 67, as it were. That's the lowest figure I've ever had there as well. And the gloom doesn't stop, I'm afraid, because we've had a streak of British artists being the official number 1 single for a long time. Well, we've broken that streak. Sam Fender and Olivia Dean's Rain Me In, whilst it's the top selling British artist song and it's still number 1 in my chart, it is not number 1 in the official chart anymore. I think it's only gone down to number 2. Let me just double check that. But it has been knocked from its perch by Olivia Rodrigo's new song, Drop Dead. I'm not going to begrudge it too much because I do quite like Olivia Rodrigo. At least a British actor's being knocked off the top by a credible and interesting artist. But, it still means British artists have had the official number 1 for 13 out of the 17 weeks of 2026. And then which means there's only been 4 weeks where a non-British artist has been the official number 1. So we had Joe's in the beginning for 2 weeks, we had Taylor Swift's Opalite for 1 week, and we now have Olivia Rodrigo with Drop Dead for 1 week. It'd be interesting to see what happens actually, because the Sam Fender and Olivia Dean track is so strong. It has been toppled from the top of the charts before, only to regain it, but I might be wrong, but I think it was Taylor Swift that did it last time, and with a song that'd been around for a while, whereas Olivia Rodrigo's new song is a new one. So my hunch is that it will still be number 1 next week, and that Sam Fender and Olivia Dean won't regain the perch. Never mind. Bit gloomy, well, very gloomy. That's the worst performing British chart I've seen in the whole 13 weeks that I've been doing this. But never mind, things will get worse, things will get better. Now, here's the news. Firstly, here is the Spotify roundup. To celebrate their 20th anniversary, Spotify have released their top 20 most streamed artists, albums and songs of all time. Only two entries made the top 20 most streamed artists of all time. At number 6 was Ed Sheeran, and Coldplay were at number 17. In the top 20 albums of all time, the deluxe version of Ed Sheeran's Divide came in at number 3, AM by the Arctic Monkeys came in at number 9, and Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa was at number 11. And finally, the British entries in the most streamed songs of all time were Shape of You by Ed Sheeran at number 2, As It Was by Harry Styles at number 5, Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi at number 6, Perfect by Ed Sheeran at number 9, I Wanna Be Yours by Arctic Monkeys at 12, Heat Waves by Glass Animals at 13, and Yellow by Coldplay at 15. That's 7 out of 20, which is much better representation than we managed last week in our own official top 20, and like 2.5 times better than what we've managed this week. Only one album by a British artist appeared in Spotify's debut albums top 10 this week. Chronicle by Zayn was at number 2. The Global Albums top 10 only features one British album this week. The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean remains at number 3. This Music May Contain Hope by Ray has dropped out of the top 10. This week, no songs by British artists appeared in the global debut singles top 10, but there are 3 singles still in the global top 10 singles. Stateside by Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson is down 1 place to number 5. Rain Dance by Dave and Thames is down 1 place to number 7. And Man I Need by Olivia Dean is down 2 places to number 10. So Easy to Fall in Love by Olivia Dean has dropped out of the top 10. We only have one entry in this week's global pre-saves chart. The album Dinner Party by Niall Horan remains at number 7 with 270,900 pre-saves, up 16,700 saves on last week. The album will be released on the 5th of June. In other news, the following singles have been given the following statuses by the BPI. Youngblood's I Was Made for Loving You has been designated silver, and Stateside by Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson has been designated platinum. Nice to Each Other by Olivia Dean is now double platinum, and Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa is 5 times platinum. The highest ever award for a single is currently 11 times platinum, the first of which was awarded to The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran in June last year. Welsh metal band Skindred entered the official album chart at number 1 on Friday. Superbloom by Jessie Ware came in at number 2. Olivia Dean's The Art of Loving has dropped to number 3, and Chronicle by Zayn, which I reviewed last week, entered the chart at number 4. The albums released by British artists this week were Keep Moving by Con Cook, Songs I Wrote Since She Left by Gresley, Long Dead Road by Ringo Starr, and Moses and the Drones by Tom Rowley. That's the news. God, I wish it weren't. Before you jump up and down at me, that last little comment was a deliberate quote from, well, I won't say what it's from, but if any listener recognises it, please do let me know what my little quote, God, I wish it wasn't, was from. Right, now it is time for my album review. With the exception of the new record from Ringo Starr, there were genuinely no artists that I had heard of in this week's batch of releases. This is not necessarily a bad thing, so the album I've selected for comment this week is Songs I Wrote Since She Left by Gresley. Gresley is a project by a musician called George Smith, who started his musical career as 1/3 of the British pop duo New Hope Club. New Hope Club formed in 2015 and was signed to Steady Records, a subsidiary of Virgin EMI. They went on to release 2 albums, the self-titled New Hope Club, which reached number 5 in the official album charts in 2020, and Getting Better, which was released in 2024. That album failed to chart, which may or may not have been part of the band's decision to take an indefinite hiatus in July last year, in which they announced that they would be following their own personal projects. Songs I Wrote Since I Left by Gresley is one of those. The album is a mixture of the good and not so good. The title really does give you a clue as to the contents of the lyrics on the album. Every song is some kind of love song. Topics vary, if that's the correct word, from unrequited love to requited love that has gone very wrong, to one person being far more in love than the other. Don't get me wrong, I don't want an album containing songs about privatisation or an angry song about Thatcherism on every album I listen to, but I do think that an attempt to vary the subject matter may have made the songs a little more interesting. The first 3 songs sound very singer-songwritery, In this context, I think that is a criticism, although I have nothing against singer-songwriters. But the style suddenly switches on the fourth track for something that sounds much more like conventional pop music and then doesn't really change back after that. It just means that the album seems to suddenly change on the fourth track. Song sequencing could have ironed that out. Maybe it was intentional, but for me that was a misstep. The final track, The Boys, is in the right place though. It rounds off the album neatly. The final song on a good album should up the ante a little bit by feeling like a musical and thematic conclusion, which The Boys does very well. The fourth song, Piece of Your Love, is an interesting change of pace. It sounds much more expensive than anything else on the album, and I also noticed that it's the only track so far that has a promotional video. It almost feels as though the decision was made to make this the lead track, and so an attempt was made to make it feel a little more polished by deliberately throwing more money at it. It's a very engaging song, but sticks out amongst the songs around it that have much simpler production. The video for it is an odd affair too. It's the singer putting a tape with his own name on it into a Walkman and then listening to it as he strolls and dances along a beach. Only it was filmed with the Walkman bit at the end and then reversed, giving an odd feel as the waves are coming in backwards, the birds are flying the wrong way, and there's something very weird about his movement. It was all shot in one take, which, if I'm honest, just makes it feel very, very cheap. Even the same concept but edited together from more footage would have reduced the cheap feel. But apart from the songs having thematic similarity and qualms maybe about the sequencing, there's nothing really to complain about. Smith has a great voice, and some of the songs have a lyrically emotional depth to them that I wasn't expecting. Missing You Already, which is on the second half of the album, is lovely and I think would make a great future single. There's echoes of the self-destructive themes that drowned the Zayn album I reviewed last week in the song Loser, but since it's the only set of lyrics that go that way, it works absolutely fine. It's not a deluge of misery. There are some very smart lyrics in here too. I'd point to the second song, Babyface, here, which is a song about pining for previous love and features the couplet, I don't wash the bedding, it smells of you, which sounds weird when said out of context but genuinely works very well in the song. Songs I Wrote Since She Left is a competently produced album with some lovely melodies and a strong, if sometimes a tad obvious and repetitive, central theme, but it gets away with it because many of the songs have that listenable to factor. It's hard to guess if and where it will chart next week, but I hope it does. It deserves to, and is a much better piece of work than the album I reviewed last week. Finally today I'm going to talk a little bit about Record Store Day. Now, Record Store Day happens every year. It's a global celebration, usually held on the third Saturday of April, that allegedly brings together fans, artists and thousands of independent record stores to celebrate vinyl culture. It started in 2007, and the thing that gets people really excited about it is that special limited edition vinyl releases are made for it. Some stores will have, artists performing live, but they release limited edition special releases, basically, which are quite collectible. And this year, it has had a very mild impact on the chart. Not an enormous one, but I was looking at the songs that were released this year, and the only way it's affected my chart this week, as I mentioned, number 19, Charlie XCX, due to physical sales of Party For You, which is an old song, but it got released as a special clear vinyl for Record Store Day. It's got into number 19 in my chart this week, and it actually got into number 60 in the official top 100. Non-British artist that's had an impact from it was Taylor Swift. So she released Elizabeth Taylor as a single, which is a relatively recent single, but she released a special version of that single, which got the song from number 73 in the chart back up to number 14 this week. In both of those cases, we'll see, time will tell whether people are listening to it again because it's got into the chart, or whether the fact that it was just people buying the vinyl and those two songs will disappear back down to kind of where they were before. But we shall see. In the case of Charlie XCX, the song wasn't even in the chart. In the case of Taylor Swift, sort of down the bottom end of it. They were the singles that impacted on the chart. And then there was an album released that kind of impacted on the chart as well. So The Cure released their greatest hits album, and it was already in the top 100 albums in the UK, the official top 100, but it went up from 96 to 27. So again, I suspect it will disappear again after that, but I may be wrong. And an interesting side effect of that is the single Boys Don't Cry, which is the first track on that album, has re-entered the single charts at number 78. I don't know that it's a result of this, but it wouldn't surprise me if people heard, about The Cure re-entering the chart, or the limited edition vinyl, and perhaps listened to that single as a result of it. Who knows? I could Google it, but I won't. Right. Last thing I'm going to do is tell you my British single of the week and my international single of the week. And the first thing I'm going to do before I do that is apologise, because I forgot to do that last week. I have a playlist with all of these songs on them, and it does include last week, so I need to tell you what they were. So last week, my British single of the week was Lewis Capaldi's new single Stay Love. Didn't do very well in the charts, unfortunately. Didn't get into the top 40, but it's a lovely tune. And the international single of the week last week was Lana Del Rey's First Light. Now that is a Bond song. No, there isn't a new movie yet, but Amazon have released a game, and they have done a theme song for the game in the style of the Bond movies, and they've done quite a good job. Obviously, the only correct answer for who's going to be the next voice of the Bond songs it has to be Ray. A few people have said Olivia Dean. She'd be good, but no, it's got to be Ray. She's got the right kind of voice for it. So yeah, those were last week's singles of the week. Moving forward to this week, I've remembered to do it this week. British single of the week, I'm going to go for Party For You by Charlie XCX, purely because its really good performance on Record Store Day has propelled it back into not only my top 40, but the actual top 100. International single of the week. I overlooked this one last week because I listened to it a couple of times and didn't really like it. Well, I've listened to it a few more times since then, and actually it's really, really grown on me. So my international single of this week is Olivia Rodrigo's number one song, Drop Dead. I haven't only nominated it because it's number one. I've nominated it because I've listened to it and like it. Anyway, that's me done for the week. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back next week with more news, another review of an album, and of course the all-important Unofficial British Artists Top 20. I hope you'll join me then.